Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the EU Masters playing stage day 2.1, as we had some technical difficulties yesterday, but today we're finally here back again with the games we were supposed to be showing you last day or yesterday. Wow, that wasn't too good there. My name is Koolein, and with me on the desk is Ibriz, it's Dino, and it is, of course, Troubleinc. Well, gentlemen and lady, welcome once again. We're back here, and hopefully it's gonna go well today. Ibriz, yesterday we had some technical difficulties, but I don't want to talk about that too much. I want to talk about day one more, because day one was open for surprises.
Yeah, definitely a lot of upsets there, mostly looking at groups C and D. A and B kind of clear cut in terms of who we expected to, come out on top, but C and D smacked wide open. We have 3 teams in each of them, a 2-1 scoreline, and yeah, it looks pretty close there. Yeah,
we'll be elaborating on that more later. Let's first talk you through how the EU Masters actually work, because I reckon it's been so long and nobody has told you how this exactly works, because the playing stage is a new addition. I'm sorry, I'm just really hyped. There's a lot of adrenaline inside my body. We're starting off with that play-in stage for the European Masters. 16 teams who were first or second seed in their region will be joining us for the group stage. 2 of those teams will be advancing seed 1 and 2, and they will be fighting each other. Group A and B will be crossing paths, and Group C and D will be crossing their paths. Finally having a best of 3 knockout stage, which will be played tomorrow if everything goes well, and eventually advancing to the main event. Well, the main event is actually a similar kind of approach. You have 16 teams. Eventually the teams from the LFL, the DACH region, are joining as well, the first seeds in there, and they will be playing a double round robin best of 1, and eventually 2 teams will advance to the knockout stage, which is a single elimination best of 3 up until the final. That's a small mistake right there in the graphic, apologies for that, but the best of 5 final, where they will be fighting for that European Masters title, and of course the grand prize of 40,000 euros, which is an astronomical amount. I mean, I wouldn't know what I would do with 40,000. Well, I mean, I know what I would do with 40,000 euros, but I can't imagine having 40,000 euros in my hands. It is a double of the total prize pool from last year, scaling it up from 75,000 to 150,000 euros, and that is, well, a small house, just for your idea. Like 150,000 euros is so much money just to think about it. But I think it's not only important about the title, not only important for that money, but Dino, it's also really important for the development of these players.
Yeah, we touched on it yesterday for the people that are at home watching us right now. These players are really looking for a lot of exposure on the big scene. They're not only looking to test their own skill against players they haven't played against before, but they're also looking to actually impress a lot of people and maybe move up into the ranks, maybe go to a better region or even go to LEC.
Yeah, because don't forget, these are your tomorrow's LEC stars. Just think of it, like players like Dan, players like Karzi, Genax also played all in the European Masters. And Trouble, who are the players we might be seeing the playing stage that have that potential to grow out to be, well, the next big star, maybe the next Caps?
I don't know if it counts, but WLG has been in the big stage, and right now he's trying to grind himself through the EU Masters yet again to get there. He's looking at pretty good form, staying in the Mad Lions train. I think Hatrix is looking amazing onto these Assassins. I have a little bit of a window of a question mark. Can he play all the other stuff as great as he can play the Assassins? Because of course a one-dimensional player is never something teams are looking for, and I'm also having my eye on the home region. Nemki from Kenty, he's looking like that 1v5 pentakill ADC that everyone wants to have in their team.
Yeah, let's have a look at today's, not today's schedule, but the groups we've seen so far, because we already had our first play-in stage. Opening up with Group A, we see Gamer Legion topping up the board. Not too bad for a, well, the Prime League second seed. They're doing very well, actually. A third lead. Yeah. My apologies. I'm sorry about that. Gamer Legion 3-0ing. Isuba, Aces, ROG Elite there, and Vipers actually all have a chance. I mean, for Vipers, it's a bit tough. But to be fair, Dino, on the first day, it wasn't, well, too bad. Like, it was bad for them that they weren't able to close out the game, but it didn't look dramatic.
Yeah, it's a pretty close fight for that second spot. They're already fighting from behind right now, so they need to leave everything on the table. I think they were scaling a bit too much to their win condition in the very late game, and we've seen from teams that the mid game is sometimes kind of iffy, and I think they should look towards actually cleaning up their mid game so they can get to that stage, and maybe, they might actually pull that Fnatic sweep that they did at Worlds, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about Group A because it's kind of set in stone what's going to happen there. Gamer Legion will most likely go 6-0. I mean, they are the clear favorite in that group. But that second seed, that's going to be an interesting one. We'll be watching that today as well. I want to hop on over to Group B and see what happened over there because that group is really weird. Like, I have no idea how Raccoon went 3-0, Ibriz. Ibriz?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, a little bit of hiccup with the internet there, but yeah, it's all good. Thank you. Yeah, so looking at Group B, we had no expectations for Raccoon heading into this. Of course, we look at them and we think, Italy second seed. Should they even really be here given their playoffs and regular season performance? And yeah, 3-0, definitely showing up. But it feels like Group B is just politely waiting to get knocked out by the Group A seeds that do make it through.
Yeah, Trouble, I want to talk to you about Intrepid Fox Gaming. I mean, this is a second seed from the Greek Legends League. This team, well, I would say that they are supposed to be the team that would be on top in Group B.
Yeah, can I get some ahs in the chat from possibly the Greek community that's waiting to see Punisher destroy this group? Intrepid Fox is really looking really strong. They have the individual bomb players as Punisher in the mid lane. I think this is the person we're looking for. And of course, they've got a very solid top lane to hold it all together. I think they're going to be top in their group today. I believe.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to find out today. Hopping over to Group C. Group C is an interesting one because the diffuse kits are in there, Dino.
Yeah, we're looking at the diffuse kits, of course, and then we're looking towards top lane Eloise. But I'm also looking at Kenty and Mad Lions.
I mean, who isn't looking at Kenty?
Hey!
I mean, if you've seen that game, if you haven't, go watch the VOD. It was an insane game. And I mean, this group is now kind of up for grasp, which makes it very interesting to watch at today.
Yeah, today is a very, very important day. I mean, Mad Lions obviously the big favorite in this group, but still, they look really, really shaky. We covered this yesterday as well, Trouble. But Mad Lions, they have one win condition, and that win condition is playing in the mid lane.
It felt like, yes, they do put all of their eggs in Hatrix's basket, and he's playing phenomenally on these assassins. It works for them, especially early into the game. If they can snowball him, he can get the solo kills and then get advantage in the side lanes or objective-wise. But then it feels like when it goes way too late game, where you've built these items to fend off these fed assassins, what is your plan B? Because they tried the split push, they tried the side lanes, and they lost in the base race. So I'm still waiting to see a multi-style game coming from Mad.
Ibriz, would you be able to pinpoint a kryptonite, like the point where Mad Lions is lacking? Is it their game plan, as Trouble is pointing out here as well? Like, they don't really know what they want to do. I mean, they have one plan, and if that plan doesn't succeed, it just looks like they're looking at each other and they have no clue what to do.
Yeah, so during the regular split, when they were semi-dominant over in Spain, it was through playing in the mid and jungle between Koldo and Hatrix. Look at the bot lane as a point of weakness. Flacked, of course, only plays MF and Lethality Varus. Never on hit, just Lethality, which is not so great. And Werlib, about as coin flip as ever, honestly. And I think Mad Lions, if they don't snowball through mid, really do have some issues.
But still, Trouble, I think you're itching to talk about Kenty because this team coming in as a big underdog, defeating like the biggest favorite, the big favorite in that group coming into the main event or hoping to make that main event. Kenty just pulled out the Blitzcrank for some reason, and they just did the unthinkable by winning from Mad Lions.
Listen, I'm not going to say it was a clean game by all means, a 50 game back and forth sort of game where you don't know who's going to win. But I will say that they were, even if it took them 50 minutes, they were able to choke down Hatrix on that assassin. They were fending him off, spill off toys with great hooks onto the Blitzcrank. He was able to get some crucial hits there, and then they were snowballing through the fights. So I can't wait to cast the rematch again because I think it could very well be the exact same thing, but it could very well be just the one-sided thing where just Hatrix just rolls all the way through the mid to their Nexus Tower.
Yeah, it's do or die for Mad Lions, of course, and all our eyes are on them as well. Like, just looking at them being that wobbly and looking at the other teams in their group as well. And Diffuse Kids, it's from the Benelux region. I mean, Dino and me are from that region. Like, we hope Diffuse Kids makes it out. But also the fact that Kenty actually took 2 wins for the win, not looking too good of a shape. But still, that group might be exciting. And all our eyes are mostly on Group C to see if Mad Lion makes it out as a first seed. I mean, the chances are that they will most likely make it out. And I mean, I kind of feel, and I hope, though, Kenty boys will make it out, but I think chances are very small. Hopping on over now to Group D, looking at that other Benelux team, Sector 1 Dino, they did actually pretty well, apart from the game versus Kick.
Yeah, they had a few good games, but if you look across the board here, you have 3 teams that actually took games of each other that are now actually on top of the standings, and you have Pig lagging a little bit behind. So they really all need to clean up some mistakes they're making, and this is definitely a brawl for the first seed, and then we'll just see how it pans out today.
Yeah, that game versus Sector 1 Ibriz, it was Kick Neosurf who took that down, the game amongst each other. And the biggest name popping up on the screen most of the time, because he was legendary, was Zlatan on the Lee Sin.
Yeah, Zlatan, of course, a lot of their regular season success, and the fact that Kick made it all the way to the grand finals of the Ultraliga, it comes from Zlatan in the jungle. You have strong lanes that don't really roam around the map all that much, but when you have a jungler just going crazy across the board, it compensates for that with a lot of global pressure.
Yeah, so I want to talk a bit short here, Trouble. I know it hurts you that you can't talk that much about Pig Sports, but seeing them going 0-3 must be very sad.
I don't know what happened to them. They went into the finals. The 3-1 Kenty. Now Kenty's like at the top of their group against the crazy good Mad Lions, and then Pig Sports are rolling all the way down to 0-3. I'm expecting to see a comeback. If it is going to be the case, it's going to be through their mid and jungle duo, Twist and Magician. The same thing that they did in the finals. I'm expecting to see it here. I didn't see much happening in this duo. Magician played way too passive. Just give him that Zoe.
Yeah, we'll have to find out if that will happen. Let's take a look at the schedule for today very briefly. We have 2 streams up and running, and this stream will be pointed down as stream 1. That is the Game Exalt channel that you're watching right now. We'll be starting off the day with Sector 1 versus We Love Gaming. Diffuse Kids versus Mad Lions will be following up on that. Kenty and Mad Lions, you don't want to miss that game because Kenty took down Mad Lions already before for the Win Esports versus Diffuse Kids will be the 4th game of the day. And then Diffuse Kids versus Kenty will be closing it out until we find out what's going to happen in the groups, because we are losing 2 teams per group today because we are advancing to the knockout stage. For stream 2, which is on twitch.tv/GameLux, we have the following games ready for you. There is no deaths, there is just plain outcasting, but who really minds when you get to see a really good League of Legends? It's Aces RG versus Isuwa in the first game. Intrepid Fox Gaming versus Cyber Gaming. Will Intrepid be able to take down a 3-0 today and move up into the first seed? Sector 1 Kick Neosurf will be on the stream on the 3rd position for the schedule, and We Love Gaming and Pig Sports, which should be a calm fiesta according to Trouble, will be the 4th game. Cyber Gaming Electric Generation will be closing out there today, and the last game will be a decider, as we have to see what happens today, because once again 2 teams will be advancing and 2 teams will see EU Masters closing down for them. Our first game is Sector 1 versus We Love Gaming, and yeah, Sector 1 and We Love Gaming both have that win. We Love Gaming took a win versus Kick. Sector 1 lost to Kick. Sector 1 won from We Love Gaming. They won from I don't really know which one actually right now, but it's okay. We're almost going to that champion select. We Love Gaming, Trouble, that team, I don't know how to feel about it, but looking at these 2 teams, it's mostly going to be happening in the bot lane.
It's sort of like a concoction between having those powerhouses and trying to figure out a strategy where they make them work all together, other than just picking something that is comfort for them. So we saw a Trundle that didn't really make sense, comfortable for DoubleAiM, didn't really work, in the composition. So I just really want to see the top side of the map really step it up. And HungryPanda, I just haven't seen him enough. I need more from him. I need more roams from the support.
Yeah, still we saw some issues in the draft from Yellow Game. I mean, we see suddenly a Trundle pop up. That was really weird. But something that I find even more weird, and it's something that I don't only see in Sector 1, but is the fact that teams have really good early games, but the transition from early to mid and eventually to that late game, that feels so wonky, Trouble. And it kind of, what you said before the show, that's the point where you see where you have a good team and a great team.
Yeah. It kind of differentiates them. How do they take that tiny lead that they have at the start and they translate it into a great lead, into objectives, into vision, into choking down their opponents so they can get that swift win. A team that can get really swift wins is just the greatest thing to have, because you know you can beat any team in the tournament.
Yeah, I think we could be talking about this for hours, but we are heading over to that pick and ban. Sector 1 will be taking on WLG, and they are looking out to get out of this group and get into the knockout stage. We're going to head on over to the casters, and for now, we'll see you in a bit.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the EU Masters. My name is Xsodus. I'm joined here by Dino, and we're going to be casting the first game today in the second play in day 4 the European Masters. As Koolein already discussed on the desk, it's going to be Sector 1 versus WLG. And Dino, how are you feeling about this game?
I'm feeling great. I mean, they're fighting for that first seed to get out because everyone is 2-1. So they're just looking at each other, looking across of each other and going like, okay, maybe we can take these guys out. If we have a good head-to-head against other people, we might actually become the team that goes out in the first seed if they go 3-0. So this is going to be a very, very explosive game, I think.
Most definitely, as we are heading into the pick and ban. Sector 1 will be banning their first champion here. And I'm wondering, as we talked about a little bit on the desk already, so Sector 1's early game and Sector 1's tempo game is extraordinarily well done. It's executed very proficiently, but how are they going to do this against WLG? Because they kind of want to make sure that their mid game goes awry as well.
Well, apparently, WLG is looking over and looking at practice, and they're like, no, you're not going to have any of those 2 good champs you play, because practice has a very good Ezreal, has a very good Caitlyn. Well, that last ban just changed up a little bit, but okay, the Ezreal's off the tables anyway. So we see them then maybe going towards his Aphelios. I think attacking practice in the early game is a good choice. He likes to play very forward, and if he's on a comfort pick, he can really take over the game before you even have a chance to compete.
And here, of course, Sector 1 is hovering. Practice is Aphelios. Aphelios, one of those, I want to say signature picks, although I believe that Ezreal is much more of a signature pick for Aphelios. This is actually a very safe pick from Sector 1. Now WLG going in with a very aggressive early bot game already.
Yeah, I like to see it. The bot lane from Sector 1 is kind of a little bit a coin flip lane, so I like to see them attack this and see if they can actually make something happen there. We see Dibu default to his Lee Sin, which is actually a very good Lee Sin player. He puts up great numbers on this champ, plays very aggressive. I don't know if this Blitzcrank hover is just, okay, they're going to lock it in. They looked at the game book of Kente and are like, we can do this too. We can pull out this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, right now Blitzcrank being picked here by Sector 1 does mean you're going for more of a pick composition with the Rek'Sai being locked in from the other side. Sector 1 has the early game advantage with the roaming support and the roaming jungler, or at least with the jungler, but Rek'Sai wants to fight in those early aggressions, and they also want to maybe look towards Misfortune and Rek'Sai being able to contest those neutral objectives. Is WLG here going to just counter Sector 1's early game by being even more aggressive?
Yeah, I think DoubleAiM is well, I don't think, I know he's a very good jungler, and he up with this Rek'Sai into a Lee Sin. It's a very known counter pick, so he's gonna look to counter gank Dibu wherever he goes. The game for Sector 1 that didn't go that well, Dibu also didn't have the best showing, so maybe they're making the call now, okay, if we can get Dibu behind a little bit, we might actually win this out. We see the ban phase conclude with bans from WLG towards the top laner Phoenix, and then we see Sector 1 trying to ban out that mid pool a little bit to give Knight a good matchup.
Yeah, and talking about a Knight matchup, that's something that Sector 1 always is looking for, because they want to make sure that Knight is going in a favorable matchup, and maybe even he's able to scale into the late game. Last play day, I want to say yesterday, but it's the day before that, we did see Knight with extraordinarily well positioning on that Ziggs. So right now, Sector 1, are they going to go for a Ziggs again?
We'll have to take a look. I'm looking at Wheel of Game. They're gonna take their Sion up top now, so they can counter pick that mid lane. For mid lane, Knight plays a lot of Kiana, Cassio, and Syndra. Those are except for Cassio and Syndra, those two are banned. So you're looking at the Kiana, but then you're forcing that AD mid, and you need an AP top. So Sion is actually a very good pickup here. And I'm looking how Sector 1 is gonna round out their comp, because it's getting very interesting. They'll have to blind pick their mid lane, and they know what they can do top lane, but this Cho'Gath looks really spicy.
Yeah, with Cho'Gath pickup here, meaning Sector 1 is going to once again put Phoenix on tank duty. I want to see something from Sector 1 that screams engage. Something that screams, hey, we can go in for the enemy team comp. We can make sure that we have the CC locked down. And not only that we have a go button, or that we have something that makes this team comp fit together. Because right now, Sector 1, it's a sort of a jack of all trades, but it doesn't really form a pretty picture.
Okay, they're going for that Ryze, so they're putting Knight on something that can roam around and control the entire map. It also has very easy gank setup for Dibu to actually make it over there with his Lee Sin. So Wheel of Gaming is looking at this, and they really need to pick a very safe mid laner here, or something that can actually attack Ryze in the early game. And if they're going for that Annie, that's exactly the plan they're going for. That would be a very interesting matchup to see actually at this stage. But yeah, the Azir looks more likely for me, so they're probably going to lock that one in. And now we have our comps, and what do you think?
Honestly, what do I think? I think we're going to be... So, we have scaling mid laners, aggressive bot lane from Wheel of Gaming, and Sector 1 needs to shut that down, and top is just tank duty. But mostly we are looking towards maybe a... Because if you look at how this game is going to go, Sector 1 is... Actually, they just want to survive. They just want to make sure that they get Knight on them 3, maybe 4 items. If you ever get to that spot, it's going to be really difficult for Wheel of Gaming. And the same goes for practice. If he has 3 items with Aphelios, he can be a tremendous powerhouse on that champion. And Sector 1 is going to dominate. The one thing they do not actually have, Sector 1, is that I talked about it already. They don't have a go button. They don't have something to go in. So yes, they do have wave clear, but Wheel of Gaming can engage so efficiently and so aggressively with all these comps that Sector 1 needs to be careful if they go for 5-on fights.
Yeah, Sector 1's comp looks a bit disjointed to me. They have a very high scaling mid and AD carry that really are looking towards 3 to 4 items to have a great impact. Of course, if you have a good early game with that Lee Sin, you can actually get those spikes a little bit sooner. If you look over to the other side, Wheel of Gaming have drafted a team fight comp you really have to be scared of in that early to mid game. Once they hit level 6, you have a Sion ulti, an MF ulti, an Azir ulti that can just really disrupt your team fight, your front to back. You want to play with Aphelios, with Ryze, and put you in a tough position. They really have to watch out for choke points around those neutral objectives, because that's actually where Wheel of Gaming's comp is going to shine, with Rek'Sai coming over walls. So it's going to be very interesting to see Sector 1, who we pegged as more of an early game team, to actually try to stem the tide maybe a little bit, or are they going to put all the eggs in a Dibu basket and just say, okay, Dibu, play as aggressive as you want. We're going to try to get this lead early and get to those item spikes very early on.
The thing is with saying that Sector 1 has always been a early team or early game team is not 100% correct. Yes, they have been in, of course, the Belgian league, which, I mean, we're both from Belgium, so we do know Sector 1 pretty well. But especially someone like Knight, and maybe even someone like Dibu, they have also been able to show very proficient dominance in the late game, in the very late game, especially on nights with that Ryze, or maybe with something like a Ziggs. So I love that Sector 1 is changing up their game plan a little bit here, but they are up against Wheel of Gaming, and they did show that Sector 1, they are very dominant in fights, but right now they have not picked a team fighting comp. As you said already, Dide, in choke points, Sector 1 is gonna choke, and they're gonna choke hard if they fight at the wrong time, when they don't have their power spike, and when they're behind. It's looking very dire for Sector 1.
Sector 1 has this task this game to be ahead of every play Wheel of Gaming tries to make, because if they fall too far behind in the early game, they're going to have a tough time. But also, once they approach the neutral objectives, they really can't face check into dark spots of the map. I'm for me, myself, I'm looking at this game and I'm looking towards that top lane. You have a Sion first big blind and you follow that up with a Cho'Gath, which basically means you're not really looking for a kill lane. You're both just looking to farm it out and actually see who can tank better in the mid to late game. But Sion with his ulti can actually set up a pretty big roam. So it will be key for Sector 1 to contain that Sion and make sure he doesn't impact the map way sooner than Phoenix can do on his Cho'Gath.
As we're going into the first game, Sector 1 versus WLG. Both of these teams still want to make it here in the play-ins, and they can go through. And I'm really thinking, Sector 1, are they going to survive the onslaught, the early game onslaught that will be WLG? Well, they're going to show us how they're going to do this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward towards DoubleAiM. He picked this Rek'Sai. It's a counter pick to Lee Sin, but it's also showing for a lot of junglers how good you are if you're good with Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai really likes to lurk in the shadows and use his tremor sense to spot people out of position and then collapse on them along with his laners. We see some shenanigans in the top lane, but they're on the top of a ward, so IceBreaker has full information here, and DoubleAiM is actually moving up as well.
I think WLG is just gonna make sure that nothing fancy happens here. Oh, Dibu and Phoenix.
Oh, this is very risky.
They're gonna face check, and here is Paris as well. That's immediately a knockup, and Phoenix is already in a whole heap of trouble. Gets his double knockup, needs to flash over the wall, but Paris is there as well. Both flashes burned, and Dibu, he's at level 1, he's in, he is quite strong. Beautiful knockup from Phoenix. This will deny the play. So both flashes traded on the solo laners, and Sector 1, maybe a bit overstepping, but they've played it well.
I mean, Debo coming in there with that save, leveling up his shield just to be able to get Phoenix out of trouble there. It's going to be hard for Phoenix. He burned his flash. He now burns his TP as well. So he's going to have a tough time in the top lane. He needs to make sure that he doesn't instantly get ganked by DoubleAiM, who's actually looking to make that move. So I'm curious to see how aware Phoenix is of this, because this could go very bad very fast.
And talking about going very bad, they know Phoenix does not have a flash available in the top lane. DoubleAiM is looking for a gank here. He's going for the tremor version immediately. The knockup with the flash. Phoenix, he doesn't have that one, and he's probably going to die here. Does not land his W, and that means first blood is going to WLG.
Yeah, the Rupture went wide there. It's also a skill you have to pre-fire, so it's kind of hard. Debo making his way up here, actually to make sure that the wave is under control, that it can take up that XP and make sure that IceBreaker maybe needs to respect this a bit more because he's trying to crash it. It's a very good move from DoubleAiM. I was talking about we're looking at him to make these early moves to get his team ahead because they have the way better early to mid-game team fights. And it made sure that Phoenix is now already on the back foot with a champion that clears waves so fast without him even wanting it, that he can actually be in a very tough spot for the rest of these minutes while his flash is down.
The thing is, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the top lane matchup. Our beautiful pull there, by the way, from HungryPanda, and this means that Practice might be able to go for a pretty extensive trade. Saviour is going quite low, does have the healing available in his kit. So, talking about top lane once again, before we saw that beautiful pull with the cannon shenanigans. So, yes, Cho'Gath is a laner who can actually survive quite a lot, or who has an enormous amount of lane sustain. He's just getting ganked again. I want to talk more about top lane.
Can he survive this?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Can he survive this?
Look at his wave, though. It crashed in the tower. He's way too far forward. He can't really do anything, and DoubleAiM is just going to go for the repeat.
Yeah, and that's a knockup on Phoenix. He's going to get the double knockup, and this means it's 0-2 already for Phoenix. I am getting PTSD from the Phoenix Wukong game, and I don't mean it in a bad way. Well, I do kind of mean it in a bad way for Phoenix, but he is getting so shredded in the top lane at the moment.
Yeah, it's going from bad to worse. I mean, the flash is down. It's a very easy gank to pull off. You just bounce that wave. Sion just bounces that wave in that top lane against the tower so that the wave starts pushing again. Cho'Gath then needs to step forwards. Rek'Sai has that easy gank path from just coming from behind. So yeah, we really need to look towards Dibu now. He needs to make some moves happen somewhere else so they can actually create a point of contention in this early game, because otherwise this Sion, what I was talking about, is going to get unlocked in this lane and he's just going to roam all over the place and actually impact the other lanes.
Right now, this means that Sector 1 is at a disadvantage, but as we told already, they just need to scale, and WLG, they need to keep up the pressure, keep up the tempo. I am looking towards DoubleAiM. He's already done a fantastic job, but can he contest other lanes as well? And most importantly, can he contest some neutral objectives? And Something we've actually said already, Paris had his flash down in mid, but nothing has been done about that by Sector 1.
Yeah, dibu was behind on that play because DoubleAiM went first and is going in for that mid lane, so actually Knight might go down here.
I don't think Knight is going down just yet. Does get knocked up though. Beautiful bite from DoubleAiM, but that does mean that Knight will survive once more. Is being pushed back a little bit and has that tier and that mana crystal available, so he might be able to just scale a little bit more.
Yeah, I think if Paris followed up there a little bit faster, he might have actually gotten the flash out of Knight. What I was trying to say is dibu really had to go to that top lane to try to prevent the crash. He wasn't successful at it, and that made it so that he couldn't really pressure this flash being down in the mid lane from Azir, and that made it so that Phoenix actually get ganked 2 times, but now he might be in position to counter this gank.
Saviour here. He is... I like him here hiding so he can catch the wave. And this is actually a beautiful move from Sector 1. It does mean you give a little bit more breathing room to practice. And I think you also get the Academy, and if practice is going to be there in time. I just want to see if Saviour is able to get it with the proc. Nobody pulls in Bananitoo, and that's a beautiful knock-up immediately. Doesn't get turret aggro, but he does force the flash. And, okay, Saviour, I want to touch a little bit on Saviour. He is the guy who wants to win for the plays. He's a champion who wants to have those playmaker potentials. And with Blitz, that does mean that you can make these highlight level plays where you just think, okay, is this guy ready for something like an LEC? Because he's just, sometimes he's close to even showboating.
Yeah, and Bananitoo, they're not actually able to pick up the lantern. Saviour using his character model there to just block that off and making sure he can't just click on it. You have a very fancy trick you can do where you zoom in all the way, so you can actually use your mouse to get over there. But apparently he chose in the end that a flash was a way safer move. But we see Phoenix here having a very rough time.
Yeah, with the unstoppable onslaught coming down here from IceBreaker, he's gonna get up yet another kill on Phoenix, and he's 0-3 at the moment, also 20 CS behind, and they don't have a top laner who has teleport available. Actually, Sector 1 doesn't have a top laner who is going to be very useful in sides besides from a knock-up, so they're still starting this dragon. Are they over-aggressive here, or is it just a genius play?
I think it's the right play to do. You don't really know where DoubleAiM is, but they don't feel like they have to contest this. It's the first dragon, and they might actually not be that strong at the moment because the AD carry is missing its flash, so he can't really go forward, too far forward. He might get hooked, he might get engaged by Lee Sin. It's kind of sad to see Phoenix get camped in the early game and fall back to the pattern of actually overstaying, trying to get that level 6. And if you look at the matchup Sion against Cho'Gath, okay, Cho'Gath normally has a fine time laning against Sion, but once you're behind, there's not much you can do. You look over there, level 7, level 6, if you just look at the HP bars, that's not a tank fight anymore. That's actually a tank trying to barrel down on a caster minion. So it's really tough for him there, and I hope he gets bailed out of it soon enough.
Especially if you look at the items from IceBreaker. So he's very stat heavy at the moment with that Cinder Hulk and with that Stark's Fist. So that means that he is actually going to be tanky and doing a lot of damage and being able to use those skills efficiently. But I like what dibu and Saviour are doing here alongside Phoenix. So they're going for the Herald.
Yeah, it's a good way for Sector 1, but I hope Phoenix gets out of there alive because that's looking very... Oh no, in
the flash from Saviour going in. Phoenix already quite low, and that's DoubleAiM getting that kill once again. And Sector 1 needs to tuck their tail and run. Knight is trying to beat a cavalry for his buddy. He might be even getting cut out by Paris. That's a beautiful Streamer Shuffle. And is Knight able to make it back to base? He has that keystone that makes him that little bit more faster. Uses his flash eventually and gets under turret here. Saviour is there alongside with practice and dibu. Gets the knock-up on Bananitoo, and he's going down. Saviour gets the kill. Knight from the backline trying to do the DPS. Can he do it? Can he kill these people? I don't think he's doing enough with those Essence Fluxes, and this is a very deep dive from IceBreaker. Gets that double kill in the end. Phoenix is there with the knock-up, and Knight, they're trying to turn this fight for Sector 1. They're trying to make a bad fight into a good one for Sector 1, and I do believe that has been done successfully. Oh, Knight's going in as well with the Realm Warp. It's not over. He's looking for HungryPanda. Gets the root, gets the kill, and Sector 1 Knight shining like a diamond here.
I mean, Knight is trying to show up on this Ryze before he even finishes the items we're normally looking at. He's sitting on a tier, and he's doing a lot of damage. I mean, this is a great breath of fresh air. We saw Phoenix there getting caught again. They're just double teaming him all the time, making sure that he can't scale into any of those items he wants to actually use that glacial augment to full effect. But then the fight gets really messy. We see Practice in there coming up big, doing a lot of damage, at the end dying to the Sign, who can go so far forward because of his passive, and then Knight with a beautiful clean him. So we see them try the Rift Herald again, and hopefully it goes better this time.
Yeah, they're trying to go for the Rift Herald once again. Take 2. As it has been stolen away by DoubleAiM. Oh no, Sector 1. They're able to zone him, but DoubleAiM gets the kill on dibu. And it does seem that DoubleAiM is consistently showing that he might be the better jungler in this matchup.
DoubleAiM is on fire right now. He's taking control of this game, just taking it by storm. I don't know if you heard me that I really look at Rek'Sai performance to see if a jungler is good or bad in general, because it looks like an easy champion to pull off because it does so much damage, but he really needs to use that vision
Saviour.
to great effect. And that's a great idea by Saviour, but it's not really gonna stop it. So they're gonna get first tower here, and it's really trying for Sector 1 to get out of this.
And Knight got hooked here by the death sentence alongside with the bullet time. This does mean first turret bot going to We Love Gaming, and Practice gets a kill on HungryPanda, but you did just lose Knight, and look at this Sun Disc here. It does mean We Love Gaming is gonna try and make another play, another fight happen, and they know that they have the advantage to right now take over.
Yeah, and it's going from bad to worse. We talked about this in Champ Select. Sector 1 has a kind of a weird composition where they have 2 champs that can really impact the early game with Lee Sin, with Blitzcrank trying to go for the picks. But then you have other champs that are really trying to scale up. And as long as Wheel of Gaming didn't fall behind in the early game, they would actually have way more teamfight control, way more damage in those early game skirmishes. And we see it to full effect here. They're just trying to defend their tier 1 tower, and Knight just loses his life because he goes up trying to kill the Rift Herald, and from then on they can't really answer with too much, and at the moment they're just staring down the barrel of this 3k maybe 4k deficit already, and it's going bad.
I was surprised when our lovely observers went to top lane. There were still turret plates there, because it did feel like this game had been dragging on for a little bit longer than 12 minutes, just because the fast-paced tempo that is happening here as Sector 1 is trying to make a play bot lane. They're trying to catch out HungryPanda and especially Bananitoo. Have not been spotted just yet.
Be able to save Bananitoo, so they might actually go for HungryPanda.
Is the hook gonna land? No, it isn't. It does mean that Sector 1 has kind of wasted a little bit of time, but there was not really much for them to do. They're now starting Dragon, so they wanted to push WLG away from their bot lane.
Yeah, and Phoenix is ahead of the play, is already here, so they will just get this with the feast, and that's something he can still offer, but he's gonna get hooked here.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna go down again. Not much to say about that one. He is most definitely the sacrificial lamb for Sector 1 at the moment, which I think is fine, because you have the old saying, don't gank a losing lane, but I think this might actually be another case entirely, as WLG is trying to force another player in the bot lane. They're diving between the turrets, not taking any aggro. DoubleAiM taking yet another kill, 7-1 at the moment. IceBreaker finds a knock-up on Knight, is being exhausted down. Here comes the bullet timer. That means the end for Knight as well. Practice, will he get knocked up? Yes, he will. And IceBreaker is just landing those shoots over and over. Paris in the backline. Beautiful Shurima shuffle on Practice. And We Love Gaming is 5-14 at the moment. 6k gold leads, taking even more turret plates, more gold, and making sure that they are the ones that might advance through the play-ins.
I think Wheel of Gaming has a hyperbolic time chamber somewhere hidden in their gamer house or something, because this is looking like a way more aggressive team. They shored up some things. They saw that Phoenix might actually be something they could attack. And I mean, if you look over to the Cho'Gath, he has his Super Soaker now, but he's 161 up against a 4-1-10 Sign that's just going full tank. There's no way he can match this in the side lane, and they're just using their power spike. In the disc we were on about, it's in these mid-game situations when Dragon is down, when Rift Herald is down, to actually do something, but Wheel of Gaming are just forcing the issue upon Sector 1 and taking all their towers and all that standing gold while they're there and actually getting kills out of it.
And really, it shows that Wheel of Gaming just plays with their tempo game so strongly and so fast-paced, because It's only a 50-minute game and they are 6k gold ahead, and they've only taken 2 towers, meaning it's just kill-wise and CS-wise. And if they can keep this up, Sector 1 is gonna break.
Yeah, and Sector 1 isn't falling over or anything. They're trying to make moves. You saw that play bot lane. They're trying to get a pick off so they can actually go for that dragon. They still have both dragons, so they can still look towards that soul, but it's getting less and less likely, because how are you actually going to navigate the fights around that dragon? We see Knight and we see Practice dishing out damage with little to no items, so maybe if they get to those 3-4 item spikes, they might actually be able to turn this game around, but for now they really have to try to take control of the vision and slow down the pace of this game. This needs to go way slower than it's going right now.
Yeah, but don't think We Love Gaming is in agreement with you on that one, down, as Phoenix is probably gonna get killed once again. Unstoppable Onslaught is being used and the damage connects onto Phoenix. It's a fight in the top lane as well. Bullet time being used. Is Saviour gonna be able to escape? Dibu flashes over the wall, but We Love Gaming's DoubleAiM is trying to show who's a better jungler here, who can do the better catch-ups, but Saviour tries or succeeds at least in saving his little buddy. Look at this bot lane. IceBreaker is no matchup for Phoenix, or I mean the other way around, of course, but it's almost unbearable to watch even sometimes.
Yeah, what was Phoenix thinking? He's going Glacial build against IceBreaker. Well, it's just in the name. He's gonna break it down. And we see DoubleAiM going forward here just to smite someone.
Yeah, 1v3 trying to get the fight on Knight, and he's not going down just yet. Beautiful golden stance from DoubleAiM, and the ultimate being used by Practice. Are they gonna change this fight? HungryPanda with the Flay survives for just now, and Sector 1 is trying to push against We Love Gaming.
You see that gold lead in full effect. I mean, the AD carry isn't even there. The top laner isn't there. You have DoubleAiM just going in 1v3, and Phoenix really needs to just look out here. Yeah, okay, he's fine. I think IceBreaker's had enough. He's like, I don't really need to kill you right now. I just want to go shop and get my items for the next fight. But you saw it in the mid lane. They come up short of a few kills, but that's mostly due to the fact that they're so far behind, and not due to the fact of things missing or fights being mis-executed. It's just really hard to do something when you're almost 10k gold behind at 17 minutes.
To be 100% fair, that 10k gold is mostly due to IceBreaker and DoubleAiM. So right now they're in a prime position to really take over this game. So you have DoubleAiM on 2 items, same goes for IceBreaker, but when are they gonna fall off? Sion falling off is going to take a little bit longer than DoubleAiM, and Phoenix, I mean, literally a third of the HP that IceBreaker has, especially with the shield. And talking about these 2 carries, it is just another kill on Phoenix, 1 and 8, and I don't want to say he is mentally breaking, but We Love Gaming is focusing so hard on making sure that he will not be useful anytime soon.
I like what Sector 1 is doing. Actually, Phoenix drew a lot of attention to that lane. For some reason, they went there with 3, while I think IceBreaker is just totally fine with getting that kill himself and just farming. So they go to the other side of the map, and they're still trying to make moves, trying to get control of some things. They can use this Rift Herald to actually put some money in someone's pocket if they even get free time with a tower. In the meantime, they give away the dragon, though, so that dragon soul is going to get delayed once again. And it's really snowballing out of control. You asked if they were ever going to fall off, and I think that might actually be we'll have to wait for them to fall off until the next game.
Yeah, that's a very strong statement, but I tend to agree with you on that one, as We Love Gaming is getting engaged here, but DoubleAiM immediately getting a kill, and it's looking dire for Sector 1. Yes, DoubleAiM is down. You can tell it's raid boss down, but the other mobs are there to join the fight. The mid lane turret has just fallen. Here's he re-engaged from We Love Gaming, and they're getting the kills. Yes, Thresh is down as well, but his Practice is going to survive this now. No, look how tanky IceBreaker is here. The knock up on Knight as well, and this does mean this mid lane turret from Sector 1 is going to take an even longer beating, and only Knight survived this fight.
Yeah, and you see they're grasping for straws. They really, really need some gold in their pocket. You see a double flash forward from carries just to try to get damage down. It's just easily answered by a flash from Bananitoo. And they're just stuck in their base. They'll just have to accept the fact that they're underneath their tower, maybe try to go for the picks, which they just did, and it didn't really pan out. So at this time, it's you're at a really desperate time, and you actually maybe need to look forward to your next games and try to make sure that this doesn't affect your mental state too much, because you still have 2 games coming up, and a game like this can really tilt these players and make their run fall short after 1 game. So they really need to watch out for this. Maybe try to play a little bit more defensive and see if they can actually make some plays to get that mental state back up.
To be 100% fair to them, we were already calling this game, which might be a little bit too early, but it is looking quite dire for Sector 1. But Sector 1 has not lost an inhibitor yet, and as long as they can actually stall the game, they have a chance. I mean, they knew that their game plan wasn't winning in the early game. They knew it was going to be winning in the late game. But can they get to that late game? And they need gold. They need gold and levels, and they need those inhibitor turrets and those inhibitors to stay up. Is Sector 1 going to try and... No, they have been spotted, so they're just trying to shove up that vision line into the Baron.
Yeah, they're just making sure that no sneaky Baron plays happen, because that's what I meant with staying in your base and trying to look for plays. They really need to make sure that Phoenix doesn't have to go too far forward, that other members aren't able to be picked off by DoubleAiM, by that Sion that's actually such a big tank that he can 1v1 anyone. So they need to make sure that Baron doesn't go down without them noticing, because
Look
then
at the gold.
the siege of WLG just becomes so strong. We're looking at the gold. We're looking towards top. We're looking towards jungle. Those roles are 4 to 3k gold behind. But then if you look at the carries, if you look at mid lane, if you look at the AD carries, it's actually manageable, except for Practice being a bit further behind, but he will scale harder than the MF into the late game. So as you said, as you touched on, as long as they can stem the tide a little bit, if they can play this defensive 5v5 without giving over too much, they might actually scale into this game, even though they're so far behind.
Yeah, but this is exactly what We Love Gaming needs to do. So they're going for an aggressive Baron play, backing off, starving vision from Sector 1, and even engaging on them, and Saviour needs to flash away. Is the Streamer Shuffle gonna come through? No, beautiful silence there from Saviour, but this is the Streamer Shuffle I was talking about, getting a double kill right into the hands of Paris, and Phoenix is gonna try, and along with Dibu, to get another kill. Knight is still alive, and he's gonna do this DPS on the tanks. IceBreaker is so tanky, but is he tanky enough to survive 3 members? I think not. And is this a turnaround for Sector 1? That's a beautiful shutdown into the Realm War. Bye we go, but Dibu is being left behind. The blast code might actually save him, and Sector 1 is going for the Hail Mary play. They're starting the Baron. It's going down quite fast, but maybe not fast enough.
Yeah, if Phoenix eats those fruits, those honey fruits, he should maybe be able to tank 1 or 2 more shots. But I mean, the MF is already up, so they really need to finish this fast. They should be able to. And in this fight, you just see how much Knight and how much practice, how much work they put into these team fights, and how much damage they actually get off between themselves. In the beginning, it looked like they would collapse onto Practice very fast, but he actually procced his Conqueror, did so much AoE damage there, and then Knight in the end was able to clean up, even though the TP from IceBreaker was coming from behind. So a really clean team fight, where they actually, it didn't even look like they were almost 10k gold behind. They might have been listening to our chaos, because they were like, you think this game might be over? We don't think so. We're gonna just take this Baron after we clean this fight.
And right now, those 2 dragons might be going over, or the second dragon at least might be going over to We Love Gaming. Some props, by the way, to Sector 1, that yes, We Love Gaming has had a tremendously aggressive early game, and they have been able to stomp them on top, especially on top lane and in jungle-wise. But these 2 of the first 2 dragons went over to Sector 1, which gives them a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, and we're looking at a game state. We can't call it even by no means, because We Love Gaming is still in the driver's seat. But they have this one problem, that is Knight split pushing up the top lane. The same problem Sector 1 is facing with Sion pushing down side waves, you now have on the other side, because Knight has a Baron buff. He's just using that to full effect. They have to send multiple members over. And oh, IceBreaker might actually be caught here.
Yeah, and I think he actually just dies. Yeah. And Practice takes up the kill as well, which is extraordinarily good for Sector 1, because that means that they get gold funneled into the carry. So you said to me before, like 30 seconds ago, Dino, you said We Love Gaming is in a driver's seat. Do you want to correct that statement?
I think there is no driver in this game. This game is just a lot of people running around trying to make things happen for their team. And I mean, the pressure is on. Every player is trying their heart out to do the best they can. And you see there, he was actually basing, IceBreaker was actually basing on top of a ward, so that made that play very easy to pull off. Now he's putting so much split push pressure in that side wave, making sure that nobody can really handle him. I mean, there's an Azir Paris who is 417, and he's not even moving up towards to fight them, but they might actually be caught here in the river, so they need to really watch out for the sign.
Teleport into Unstoppable Onslaught, immediately getting the tag on Practice, and he's going to be taken down as well. This was a beautiful play done by We Love Gaming, meaning that they say, hey, we are once again in that driver's seat that may or may not exist, Dino, and that means that Sector 1 has kind of lost a little bit of the edge they had, but We Love Gaming is still firmly ahead in this.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a Schrodinger's driver's seat going on here with IceBreaker actually getting...
Once again, double knock up here. Here is the engage from Sector 1. And I love what they are doing here. They're trying to stall the wave even more, trying to play aggressive, making sure they get the most out of this Baron buff. And something we haven't touched on upon, look at the items from Phoenix right now. He knows he's not very useful gold-wise, so he's building utility. Full utility for his team. Beautiful hook here from Saviour. IceBreaker goes golden, and Phoenix will get pulled as well. That's him gone. Can We Love Gaming break open their base? Knight not being able to get knocked up. It's dibu going in, going golden as well. But the amount of damage coming through from Practice, he does so much AoE damage with the flamethrower, and he gets IceBreaker down. The Shrima disc is still up there, so Sector 1 is not able to re-engage, but they are stalling this game, and their base is still intact.
We see the difference in full effect here. We see Phoenix going forwards once, and you touched upon his items. He's kind of forced to do this once you go for that Glacial Augment build, and it's really rough if you fall behind, because Cho'Gath scales into tankiness with his Feast, not with those items. He goes forwards once, he dies instantly. IceBreaker eats 3 hooks in that fight, and the third one is a charm, so he goes down with the third one. That turret actually saving a lot of people there that Azir put up, because they couldn't really push forward too far. But these fights are way closer than WLG would actually want at this point, because now you're looking at Aphelios, now you're looking at Ryze, and these champs are just scaling into this game. And I want to see Paris do a little bit more on his Azir. He's 418, 204 CS, but I haven't really seen him have a big impact in these fights, except for that one flank he did under the tower in bot lane.
I have to say, the fact that IceBreaker is so tanky does mean that in these fights, as you said already, he survives 3 hooks. And if he lands a decimating smash on somebody like a Knight or somebody like a Practice, the fights are looking done for Sector 1, just because you're not only getting caught as a carry, but you're also not doing the damage which you need to do. Because I mean, we saw the amount of DPS that can be pumped out from either Knight or Practice, and if one of those stays alive for long enough in a fight, WLG is gonna be in a heck of a spot.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to touch up really quickly is if you look at the side lanes right now, We Love Gaming actually reset them, but before, when they were sieging the mid lane, they really did their due diligence of setting their side waves up to make sure their lanes are crashing at all sides. They can actually play these fights a little bit slower if they do, because they're still should feel like they're ahead. They still have a very strong engage, a very strong team fight. So as long as they make sure that on every wave you have a crashing minion wave into towers, then they can play this out a little bit slower than they're doing right now, because Sector 1 is making very good defensive moves. And okay, you're hooking 3 times, but in the meantime, he actually went down in the end, and he's getting...
Oh, once again, a hook onto IceBreaker, and he doesn't go down just yet. That's a decimating smash I was talking about, along with DoubleAiM in the backline. Does not find a kill just yet. He will go down. He's being resurrected, but it's a beautiful stall from Sector 1. Can they do the damage? They went through the front line. Phoenix goes golden, but Saviour is there alongside with Knight and dibu. They might be able to turn this fight around. DoubleAiM is dead. IceBreaker is dead, but look at the health bars from Sector 1. They aren't healthy enough to maybe contest this fight, but they are going to try anyway. Walking over vision, as he said already, Dino. And the honey fruit is actually going to keep the We Love Gaming alive. Beautiful stream, a shuffle here. As the Emperor is divided, make sure that Sector 1 is divided. Knight is alive, fancy footwork. But he needs to get these Essence Fluxes in to do the damage. He gets 2 kills even. And it's Paris, maybe last one in this fight. But he's going to get knocked up and Sector 1 turns it around. And I want to say somehow.
You're right to say somehow. I mean, DoubleAiM had a huge flank there. He just went in on those carries. We saw practice go down instantly, but they're actually making the call that they can take this Baron before they arrive. And I think they're right because Aphelios is already running over and there's only 2 champions for Wheel of Gaming to contest this. They're gonna trade the Dragon for it, making sure they go up to that soul point, but maybe Sector 1 might actually be able to rotate over there. The pings are already there and you have Knight, you have that ult. No, okay, the ulti is on Koolein. That's kind of sad because that would be insane.
I mean, I don't think they might be able to get the Dragon, but can they get away with their life? The Dragon is not being stolen away, no smite available there, but IceBreaker is in the pit, and he's gonna get taken down. DoubleAiM escapes, so Sector 1 gets this second Baron, and they are gonna push against Wheel of Gaming.
Yeah, and take a look over to that gold lead now. Once they're using this Baron for some towers, they're actually gonna be ahead for the first time in the game. And I like Wheel of Gaming making the call there. There's no way we can contest this Baron, right? So they're going to that Dragon, making sure that they get the soul point. But Sector 1 is just pushing and pushing through your base right now.
Yeah, look where DoubleAiM is right now. He just needed to recall. The first inhibitor is being taken down in this game, and the gold lead has shrunk to only 1.5k. Sector 1 is trying to turn it around, but this game can still be decided by one fight, just how fast Wheel of Gaming can actually push in a wave. So, Sector 1, good spot at the moment. Turn it around, but they have not won it yet. TP being used from the back line, but it's... yeah. That's a call. That's a 50-50 call there, and you went for the wrong one.
Yeah, that speaks dividends of how Wheel of Gaming wants to approach these fights. They actually know that Knight reset to his base because he was base calling in vision, and then you see IceBreaker making a call like, I can TP and ult here through the river to actually engage this, but they're not confident enough to take this up without the proper setup. Not every player was in position, and IceBreaker probably also realizes that he was very tanky, but at the moment that stone plate is the only thing that's keeping him alive against the hyper carries of the hyper carry that is practice. I want to reiterate a point we made where you were right to just call out like the game isn't over until the Nexus falls, and we said they had to play defensive, because if you're looking at the game right now, we're just looking at a totally different game.
Yeah, Knight, I mean, he is using those feet to dance around all these kill shots in the fights. He is able to position so well. And I don't know if you saw, but an Essence Flux crits for 1300 at the moment. No pull here on IceBreaker. Saviour doesn't connect it just yet. And Phoenix is here trying to siege alongside with the rest of his team. Mid lane is going to be auto-pushing in for Sector 1, and the only thing Sector 1 needs to do here is make sure that their positioning stays on point.
Yeah, and I'd like to come back on a point I made. I wanted to see Paris do more in fights, and we saw him actually in that one fight around the Dragon Pit that dragged on for so long. He still threw him a shuffle up. He went in, made the play. It seemed to work, and then normally you have that zone control with Azir, where people are afraid to walk up because you have your Sand Soldiers. Knight just went in, trusting himself to do so much AoE damage, to do just enough damage to start dropping bodies, and it became very, very close. And that might actually have been the tipping point of this game, but we're not sure, because these teams are going blow for blow. The early game from Wheel of Gaming was insane. They had such a big lead, but now at this moment I want to see those gold numbers again, if production can pull those up, because I think the carries of Sector 1 might actually be ahead of the curve now.
Yeah, we're going to give a little small wink to our lovely observers. Thank you very much for that one. As we do see, I think you're absolutely right, Dino. Especially look at Knight. He is 4k gold up against Paris, which is amazing, which is almost unbelievable even.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Aphelios and MF. They're in an even gold state, which means by now, just the way that Aphelios scales into the game, he's actually way stronger. MF has that bullet time to use in a team fight, but Aphelios with his ulti and Infernum up, which he has right now, is actually dishing out more damage faster than they can. And Phoenix, his score line doesn't look
Phoenix
great,
has a bounty.
but he has a bounty.
Somehow he is 3 and I think he was 1 and 9, and he has a bounty at the moment, which is baffling. As we might see another engager on IceBreaker, he keeps getting pulled in consistently, and he's not able to survive these fights. Practice gets the kill. That signals very well that Sector1 wants to have the carries get even more and more fed. And yeah, Dino, we said before, IceBreaker is able to get hooked consistently in fights. I don't think that's a plus anymore.
Yeah, I think IceBreaker needs to take a hard look at the game time. It's not the time where he can tank 3 hooks before dying anymore. And now we see actually Ryze ulti being used to split so hard. They're just instantly going for this bot tower, and look at the damage he's dishing out.
Knight is probably doing around 400 damage per auto attack on these turrets. He has so much AP at the moment. Trying to look 874 AP on Knight, and he can still build an item if he ever sells his boots, which I don't think he will. Although you never know. But this Sector1 starting this mountain dragging, making sure that We Love Gaming does not get the soul. They're stalling out the game even longer, which is once again in Sector1's advantage.
1,661 damage with one spell there. Just let that one sink in. This
which you can get 3 times in your rotation. Yeah, that's amazing. I want to see this fight. I actually want to see what happens here. So IceBreaker, he has almost 5k HP. That's 1. That's 2. Okay, that's 2k HP gone with 4 spells, and he still has a lot more left in him.
Yeah, the problem Wheel of Gaming has right now is that not only...
Oh, beautiful insect here done by dibu, and that's a kill on Thresh. So HungryPanda is down, and this will be the 3rd Baron, if they get it. It will go to Sector1. This game is going back. I want to say this game is going back and forth, but you can't put your finger on exactly how.
Now it's 4th.
It was back and now it's 4th. The guy gonna try and catch out Knight, but he gets away with a Realm Warp, and it does mean that Sector1 gets this 3rd Baron Nashor, and they're gonna try to push once more into We Love Gaming's base.
Yeah, the thing I was trying to say before Sector1 was just like, no, casters, it's all right. You don't have to make the points. We'll just show them for you. So I can just be the backseat gamer here and explain what happened before our eyes. The problem they have is they can't match Knight in a side wave. They have to send at least 2, probably 3, maybe 4 people up there, and he still has that ulti to fall back on, right? And then the second problem is if they ever want to contest vision, you're walking into Glacial Augment Cho'Gath with a Blitzcrank and the Lee Sin, and we saw that HungryPanda is doing his due diligence as a support. He's like, okay, I have to get vision here. They might go for this Baron, walks up a little bit and dies.
And Phoenix here has 7 feast stacks, meaning that he's actually getting more and more tanky, and the laner that was completely shut down by We Love Gaming is back into the game, which means that We Love Gaming needs to find a bullet time. They need to find this one fight where they absolutely destroy Sector1 and try and go for a finish, because the longer this clock is going for Sector1, the better it is.
To keep tabs on our Schrodinger's driver's seat, we have here 8 Sector1 in driver's seat.
Keep that thought in mind though, Dino. As you were seeing engage from Sector1, IceBreaker is gonna get shredded down, but he survives with the lantern. Look at the damage that he's pumped out by practice. Sector1 is trying to siege this top lane turret. They get the turret and they're looking for the inhibitor. We have 3 open inhibitors for We Love Gaming, and are they gonna be able to defend against Sector1's onslaught here? One of the inhibitors is down, the second one is going down as well, and Sector1 has minions in the base. They have Baron buff, and they actually might be able to win this game that looked so dire for them in the early game. DoubleAiM is looking for a flank. Look at those pings. They're looking for an engage on Knight. He is a big, bad, scary wolf. He's gonna get taken out by HungryPanda. He is so... Knight is surviving so far. Just he gets the 1 kill. How does he do it? He gets taken out, but Sector 1 traded carry for carry, and 3 inhibitors are down for We Love Gaming. Sector 1 is not stopping. They are looking at the Nexus, 2 turrets still standing between the victory screen for Sector 1 and We Love Gaming's defeat screen. Phoenix gets a knock up on Paris. He's being dragged away back to base because of the lantern. Sector 1 is trying to engage. Can We Love Gaming stall you? HungryPanda looking for an engage. He's not finding one, as Sector 1 will finally back off.
What were they thinking? They were thinking the exact same thing as you. Oh, wait, we have a knock-up on this Ryze. He's dead, right? So they back off. Turns out he wasn't dead. He just throws a skill out there and someone else hits the floor. The AD carry just goes down before they actually confirm the kill. So in the end, DoubleAiM even needs to use his ulti. And I was loving the flank he was doing there and the pings coming out from the team. That's the kind of plays that can actually make sure that you have a chance of staying in this game. Knight is really hard to attack, but once he's inside your base, he's so far forward that you should be able to catch him off guard. But in the end, yeah, if you don't go all in and you try to give a kill over to someone or just disengage too soon, he's going to blow up that MF. So watch out for his damage and actually go all in on that kill, because right now you have 2 super minions in every wave pushing down, and that Dragon Soul is probably going to go over to Sector 1.
The thing is about having 2 super minions in every wave means you get 180 extra gold per wave, which means that this is a very dangerous spot normally for Sector 1, because you're pumping so much gold into We Love Gaming. If they stall the waves, and they can clear the waves, but I don't think that gold matters anymore in this game. It's purely down to who will win the next fight.
Yeah, it's down to execution of team fights, and okay, it gives a lot of gold for you to just stand in your base and kill the super minions, but this Dragon Soul is worth so much gold as well. You get a second Earth, you get that shield to start off fights, and giving a shield extra over to Knight, over to practice on his Aphelios will just make these carries so much safer. Phoenix actually starts to look like a tank now, and it's down to this fight. This is going to be the last fight of the game, maybe, depending on how it goes.
Sector 1 here looking to finish the game. They have the minions in the base. They're trying to build up the waves. Can they find a knock-up? Can they find an engage spot to finish this game here? We Love Gaming hanging by a thread. They only have 2 turrets left, but the minions are in their base. Can they survive? That's another hook on IceBreaker. He will not get taken down because of the lantern at Sector 1 trying to go back to base. But it's Phoenix here. But he's surviving. BlitzCrank not doing enough as We Love Gaming is surviving. But how are they surviving? Because they're losing their inhibitor turrets. They're losing their Nexus turrets. And this is the engage from Dibu. The insect kicks out Paris. And Paris is going down. The unstoppable onslaught. But it's not enough. DoubleAiM in the backline. Knight is still alive. Practice gets a double kill. And this does mean that Sector 1 is winning this fight. A triple kill for Practice. Is he looking for the Penta? He probably is. The last Nexus turret has been taken out, and Sector 1 has eventually won the game against We Love Gaming. And it's still unbelievable how close this could have been.
Just take a step back and recognize the fact that We Love Gaming had such a strong early game attacking that top side that they were 10k gold ahead. And I was talking about the mental state, the effect that could have on Sector 1. Just think about We Love Gaming now. They had this game in their hands. They had 10k gold. They had the better mid-game team fight. And somehow Sector 1 can just clutch it out, falling back on those 2 carries in Night, in practice. And this game was insane.
This game was quite insane. We're going to a very short break in a couple of seconds, but don't go anywhere because we're going to be right back on this channel with, I'm just going to look up, sorry guys, with DK and Mad Lion. So once again, don't go anywhere. If you want to watch some other games as well, we do have twitch.tv/GameLux as well for the other games. So bye guys, see you in the next one.